Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about a rumor that's getting quite a bit of attention, and that's about a game a lot of people are hopeful to see, myself included, and that's a Chrono Trigger remake. Now, this specific rumor is not true. It's turning out to be 100% false. There may be a Chrono Trigger remake in the background, but this specific rumor, this specific seemingly confirmed by accident by Dragon Quest creator, is 100% false. So reportedly, during a panel at Comic-Con Naples, it all slipped, but it turns out it was just the interpreter. Now, unfortunately, I don't speak any of the languages of that panel, so I can't confirm anything on my own here. I am trusting Gamatsu. And they say, late update, footage from the event is out, and Hori himself never actually says anything about a remake of Chrono Trigger. Like at all, it was all the interpreter. Sorry to burst everyone's bubble. If you are curious about this one and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. I don't hide my sources. And speaking about rumors, next up we're talking about something that has a little bit more meat and potatoes behind it. We're talking about Sackboy and PlayStation, and it's being rumored that Sackboy is taking a bit of a backseat over at PlayStation Studios. So Radic over on Twitter spotted, and they say here, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I can confirm after seeing Until Dawn that Sackboy is not in the PlayStation Productions intro anymore. So this is a picture from 2023, and if I scroll down to the most recent picture, you can see in the corner there that Sackboy is no longer present. Honestly, I don't really know what's going on here. I don't know if this was kind of just a one-off thing. I mean, Sony does change their intros every now and then, and specifically for different games. This was for the Until Dawn movie, though, so I'm not necessarily certain what's going on here. I would say Little Big Planet is such a big part of PlayStation's history, and why in the heck would they cut that out? I don't know here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you think this is just a one-off thing, or do you think they're trying to erase Sackboy and Little Big Planet from their history? Next up, we're talking about some pretty big news here that was blowing up the internet gaming space yesterday. I mean, this one was talked about quite a bit. I'm a little bit late to the party about it. You probably already know about it. In fact, this news went live just before my video yesterday went live, so I didn't have a chance to incorporate it in. Anyways, here, we now have a release date for Grand Theft Auto 6, and it's probably a lot later than you expected. So here is the announcement. Grand Theft Auto 6 is now coming May 26th, 2026, which is later than fall 2025. And they say here that we are very sorry that this is later than you expected. The interest and excitement surrounding a new Grand Theft Auto has been truly humbling for our entire team. We want to thank you for your support and your patience as we work to finish the game. With every game we have released, the goal has always been to try and exceed your expectations. Really? I mean, what expectations did they think we had for Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition? That was a freaking mess. Anyways, here I digress. And Grand Theft Auto 6 is no exception. I'm hoping it's an exception to your previous expectations of what you thought we'd have. We hope you understand that we need this extra time to deliver at the level of quality you expect and deserve. I can get on board with that. We look forward to sharing more information with you soon. So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I'm assuming some people will be disappointed about this one, and to be honest with you, I'd rather them delay the game and have a good game as opposed to release a broken mess. I mean, we see that all too often nowadays, and I would say delaying a game is the way to go here. On top of that, I'm assuming that a lot of game developers and publishers out there are breathing a sigh of relief if they've got a game releasing this year, because now Grand Theft Auto has no chance in taking away some of their thunder. Now, reportedly, there were a lot of people who were not surprised at all about this and were kind of expecting it, and I would argue against that based on something I'm about to show you. Anyways, here, Jason Schreier says, nobody I've talked to at Rockstar has believed fall 2025 was a real window for a very long time now. Too much work, not enough time, and what appears to be a real desire from management to avoid brutal crunch. GTA 6 slipping into 2026 has seemed inevitable for months, if not longer. Now, there were some rumors a while back that GTA 6 might slip into 2026. However, based on a financial briefing, that didn't seem to be the case. So here's the briefing right from Take-Two's website titled Q2 Fiscal Year 2025 Conference Call. And they say, and I've highlighted it, as we plan to release several blockbuster titles, including Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto 6 in fall of 2025. And on top of that, if I take a look at the stock value here for Take-Two Interactive, we can see the big dip right at the announcement. So it does seem a lot of people were not expecting that. And it's currently down 6.66%. That's an interesting percent. Anyways, let me know your thoughts about this entire situation in the comments below. But moving on, and next up we're talking about Sega's Saturn emulation with a brand new emulator called Ymir or Ymir, or subscribe to Mr. Sujano. I don't know how you pronounce this one. Anyways, here, this is brand new and just got a brand new release. So at the time of filming, the initial release for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano version 0.1.0 was 2 days ago. I really don't know how to pronounce this one. I'm having a brain fart. And they just released version 0.1.1, so I would say this one is being very actively developed. Anyways, I haven't had a chance to check out Ymir yet, but it does require a BIOS ROM and it is available for Windows and Linux. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below if you've had a chance to check it out and what your experience is with it. And speaking about emulation of Sega consoles, next up we're talking about Sega Dreamcast emulation with Flycast. And Flycast has just got a whole host of improvements. Now, we've talked about Flycast a bunch on this channel, and I'm assuming a lot of people are very familiar with this emulator, so this may be more of just a friendly heads up here. But over on GitHub, the latest release is October 23rd, 2024. On Google Play, the latest release here is October 2024. Over on FlatHub, the latest Flatpak for this is version 2.4, which was October 2024. However, if you take a look at their website here, which I will drop a link to in the description below, you can see the latest update here is May 3rd. It gets updated very frequently, and you may not necessarily find the builds very easily unless you've got this link to check them out. To stay up to date on the news, I do recommend checking out my videos, but if you like to go on Reddit here, they do have a very informative and very active subreddit. And on Reddit Flycast, they say huge Flycast improvements never seen on DC emulation before, huge handheld support improvement, Google Play updates, online multiplayer, and so much more. So if you're on Android, one of the big things here is for people with Mali GPUs. If you've got a Mali GPU, you're going to be excited about this news. You should be anyway. Maybe you're not, I don't know. Anyways, here, per pixel support is now available from Mali. Per pixel is required in many games to not have graphical glitches and missing textures. So this is a huge boost for Mali users. It is worth noting here though that per pixel support will take up a little bit more processing power, so you may have to adjust settings accordingly. You may have to lower resolution just a little bit to make sure things continue to run smoothly. And on top of that, if you've got Flycast installed on the Google Play Store, check out the Flycast page and scroll down to where you see beta testing. You can opt into that to check out the latest and greatest features. On top of that, you can now use a real Dreamcast controller, VMU, and Rumble pack on Flycast, which I think is pretty awesome. And there's some other stuff in here we've talked about in previous videos. But if you are interested in reading up a very detailed write-up on a whole bunch of improvements, I do recommend checking this out. And speaking about updates, next up we're talking about Batocera. Batocera has just released a brand new YouTube video here called Batocera Update Episode 3. And it talks about all of the updates of Batocera over the month. For those who may not be aware, Batocera is a free and open source gaming-focused Linux distribution. If you are interested in Batocera, I do recommend checking out their YouTube video where they talk about a bunch of stuff, including PS4 emulation with Shad PS4. On top of that, I believe they're also improving things for the ROG Ally. I mean, if I take a look over on GitHub for Batocera Linux 42, I can see a bunch of improvements. They've added support for even more hardware here. And taking a look at the ROG Ally specifically, they say ROG Ally gamepad support. They've significantly improved E5 shutdown time, especially with large and medium collections. I mean, this is a pretty big update for Batocera. They've updated a bunch of different emulators and even more, and there's a whole bunch of fixes. Next up, we're talking about tariff impacts. It just seems like it's another day, another company impacted by tariffs. And this is being reported over on TimeExtension.com. Trump's tariffs are also impacting Evercade stock in the US. The other day we talked about 8-Bit Dough. Previously we've talked about stuff like Ambernick and Retroid and even more. It just seems it's one company after another here that's getting impacted. I recommend checking out the article for even more information on the matter. And they say here there will be temporary changes to Evercade availability in the US. Only existing stock in the US is currently available. And we hope that situations change in the coming weeks to allow for pre-orders on new products to open in the region. So if you had your heart set on an Evercade in the near future, you may want to check out stock availability. Next up, we're talking about Polygon. So in yesterday's video, we talked about an article from Polygon, and I didn't talk about how Polygon was sold. So Polygon, the whole website, was sold to Valnet. And also, Polygon staff was hit with massive layoffs. Now, for those who may not be aware, Valnet is well known for sites like Screen Rant and Game Rant and even more. And if these numbers are true, if layoffs are over 20 staff, I would say that is a lot of staff to be laid off all at once. And I would also say, based on this information, the overall direction of Polygon is probably going to change moving forward. I don't know if it's going to have a new look and feel or just it's going to be different. I mean, I have no idea what's going to go on here. I don't know what the future of Polygon entails. But I will say, based on these numbers, I would expect a change of some sort. I don't know if it's going to be a change in quality. I don't know if it's just going to be a change in overall style. But less people running Polygon and under new ownership here, I say, will impact it quite a bit. I could be wrong. And last up here, we're talking about Epic Games. Now, we talked about Epic Games the other day when they had a huge victory versus Apple. And it seems as if Epic is really trying to drive developers over to their platform. It's being reported in a bunch of different areas, being talked about in a bunch of different areas here. But Epic has reduced their revenue share to 0% for the first $1 million in revenue for developers. The full article is over on Gaming on Linux, and I do recommend checking it out because there are some even more links for some even more information there. After that $1 million in revenue, the revenue split goes back to 88-12%, and taking a look here, Gaming on Linux points out something very interesting. Not surprising they're doing this when you see how player spending on third-party games on the Epic Games Store has gone down 2 years in a row. I don't want to say that this looks like desperation, but it does seem like they're trying to do something to bring developers over. There are a couple of things I want to point out. One person here says, this move reeks of desperation. Problem is the Epic Games Store will bleed even more money because it's 99.9% of its users only care about Fortnite and the weekly free games. I mean, I really care about the weekly free games. I've got a whole bunch in my Epic Games Store. I haven't spent a dime, and it's amazing. I've got a great game collection. Anyways, here, this person also says, looks like they're getting very desperate now. So desperation does seem to be a theme. However, the big however here, and this is a very good point, this will be a big motivation for indie developers because having 100% revenue is possible nowhere else. If an indie developer doesn't think they're going to make $1 million on their game, maybe it's a smaller game, maybe the price point is just so low that achieving $1 million will take a long time, the Epic Games Store may become increasingly attractive. Let me know your thoughts about that one. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.